Welcome back to my channel. My name is Krystal. Welcome if this is your first time here. I do appreciate you being here. And if you are not, remember to subscribe. If you are someone that is in your self-development journey, self-improvement journey, or just healing from whatever you need to heal from a breakup, from inner child healing, to any type of or a form of abuse, this is the channel for you. I am currently going down the steps of how to reparent yourself. If you have any questions of how to get caught up, go back to my previous videos and look at those. If you are following along, you know we are going through the steps of getting out of our worst day cycle. For last week when I left you guys off, or the previous episode where I left you guys off, I let you guys know about reparenting and how we're going to show up for our inner child in a way that we needed, it to be emotionally secure. This week we're going to continue that. For reparenting, the next thing that we're going to do is we need to teach our inner child emotional safety to be able to get out of the worst day of their life. With teaching ourselves emotionally, that means we need to teach ourselves now in this day to be able to guide our inner child into feeling these emotions. I've mentioned it previously in here, is if you are still feeling your emotions amplified to like 100 times, or you just realize that you react in a emotional way, or you're reacting from a place that you're like, I don't know where this is coming from. If you are during like in those steps and you're kind of just wondering how to even feel your emotions, these next videos are really gonna help you. For today, what we're gonna do is we're going to step into our body. For me, the biggest thing was getting back into my body. I was very dissociated. For those that don't know, dissociated means being out of your body. One of the things that you can do to view and how in your body you are is think of the last scenario that you had in your life and how were you? What I mean by that is, how do you see yourself in that scenario? Do you see yourself like from above? Like, are you looking at yourself from like a third party, or are you viewing the situation through your eyes? If you are viewing from up here and you could just see yourself, that means you are dissociated. That means you are not in your body. You are viewing yourself from a third place. When you start seeing the situation through your eyes and you could see that you're in a first place position, that's going to give you confirmation that you are completely embodied into your body. Dissociation happens a lot with fight or flight because your body goes into a state. Your nervous system just is on high when you are in fight or flight. And when you are in high fight or flight, then you are dissociated. You're not in your body, you're in your mind. And just literally think about it as like yourself, but then there's like another self to you. Like, imagine yourself here. There's two versions of you, one that is living outside of your body, and then there's there's your physical body. But we need to teach ourselves to get back into our body because of so long that we have been in dissociation. For me, for example, I was very dissociated. So much fear, so much anxiety, so much depression just got me to the point where I was not anywhere close living in my body. Another way that you can tell is, can you feel your emotions? If I ask you this question, like, where in your body do you feel it? Can you determine where in your body you feel it? If you're telling yourself like, well, I feel it everywhere, or I don't know where I feel it, then we're going to have to go into more depths of training yourself and teaching yourself how to actually feel the emotions and how to actually determine where in your body you feel the emotion. That way we can go through processing that emotion out of your body and processing the emotion through our nervous system too. Because we have to remember, like, we have all different parts in our body. We have our nervous system, we have our mind, like, there's just so much going on in our bodies. And once we start learning the way that we function and the way everything flows in here, then that way we can determine and release certain emotions. That way you are amplifying the way that you feel. So you guessed it right. We are going to talk about where in your body you feel the emotion. With determining the worst day of your life, which that is where we started this whole new series, where you feel the emotion in your body is going to determine where in your body, how you feel, what emotion you feel, and what we need to do to release this emotion. What I mean by that, and what I mean by where you feel it in your body, is you're going to have to tune in to your system, to your body, and determine, well, where is it that I feel it? Do I feel it in my stomach? Do I feel it in my heart? Do I feel it in my throat? Do I feel it in my mind? Do I feel it in my lower back? Like, there's certain places in our body that hold our trauma. The body holds the trauma, and that is one of the things that has helped me in really releasing so much pent up emotion and so much pent up stress, and truly so much pent up weight. And there's it's a lot, and I know that it can be a lot. It can be so much, but the more that you start training your body and teaching yourself the safety, as I've mentioned, the easier that it's going to get. So let's just dive right into how do you feel this in your body. We already determined our worst day of our lives, and we're still in the chair, and we're still with our inner child. We are in still this visualization. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to my previous videos to catch up, to get to this point now. Or if you can follow along with me without having to go back, then just stay here and let's move on. The worst day of our lives, as I mentioned, we get stuck there. Our bodies stay stuck in our worst day life, and therefore we're repeating this cycle of trauma, fear, shame, and denial. And we're just going through this cycle in our life of every day to day. And even if you're not doing it consciously, like you're not doing it on purpose, that's what I like saying when I'm trying to explain conscious awareness versus unconscious awareness. Conscious awareness is saying that you're doing it on purpose. You're doing this certain reaction, you're doing this certain action with purpose. Unconscious means that you don't even know you're doing it. There's no purpose behind it. You're just wired into doing that. So when you're unconscious, you don't even know that you're doing these certain aspects. Like, you don't even know you're doing these certain actions. And so getting out of our unconscious self and clearing these old emotions is really going to get us to step into a new conscious version of us, because we're not living in our subconscious anymore. One of the things that you can do to determine your subconscious is how is your dream life? Our dreams are ruled by our subconscious. So how have your dreams been lately? That's one thing that you can ask yourself as well, is how much of your subconscious do you have to clear? And the way that we could clear this is through rewiring our consciousness, feeling our emotions, and really just becoming this new version of ourselves that is more aware of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Feeling the emotions, I wanted to share this with you guys because a lot of the times we can't determine what even emotion we are feeling. So first we have to determine what emotions are coming up for us, or what type of situations are coming up for us, to determine what emotion we are feeling. And then from that, then we can determine, like, okay, this is where in my body I feel it. But first we need to realize the way that these emotions are stuck in our body and what they might be. So what I have here is, and I'm going to give a quick shout out to healthyholistics.net, to Laurie Holland. I was able to download this from her website. She has a lot of amazing information of how to heal holistically. If you've never heard of holistic healing, it pretty much just means that there's a way to heal without having to do medications, without having to do certain things. really holistically, to me, I guess, maybe I don't even know the definition, but to me, holistic healing means me being able to heal myself because my body is designed to heal itself. Really, wounding and trauma really cause a big wound in ourselves. And for me, it's really healing those old, deep wounds that we have within ourselves to be able to be unstuck. I remember being in a spot where I'm like, I just feel stuck. I just feel stuck. If you feel that way, then it just might be that you have a lot of pent up emotions that are stuck in your body that are just ready to be seen, ready to be released. We're going to talk about the ways in which your body might be communicating to you that you have stuck emotions. One of the things, so with this first emotion, when I say like that you feel it, this is how we determine it. If you feel discomfort in the low or in your mid back, if you feel leg pain, frequent urination, discomfort in your ankles or in your feet, a TMJ, or tight hip flexors, that could be determined by fear. So think about it. If you are feeling any of these emotions in your body, that is fear. And some of the ways that this can be showing up in your life is that you're timid, you dread to do certain things in your life. You feel paralyzed, like you can't move, or you're scared. That is a way that fear can be showing up for you, and a way that you're feeling it already without even being conscious of it. One for me was a lot of leg pain. I had a lot of leg pain in my right side of my leg. That pain just went from my hip all the way down to my leg. And for me, really releasing that really was working and stretching my hips and moving my hips. That is how I did it to release that pain. Remember what I told you guys about going in with the intention of doing things? Next time you go to stretch your leg, next time you go to do like a child's pose in yoga, really do it with the intention like, I'm going to release fear. And that is how you move emotions. That is how you move it out of your system, with the intention that you are doing that. Next emotion is if you feel discomfort between your shoulder blades, if you're waking up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., if you feel discomfort in your right knee or in your right shoulder, if you have frequent headaches or vomiting or nausea, this is a sign of anger. This is a sign that you have a lot of built up anger. The way this can be showing up in your life is resentment. You have a lot of resentment, frustration, depression, or you're bitter. So again, with this, for me, it was a lot in my shoulders. For me, what helped me release this a lot was really getting deep tissue massages to be able to release that. Again, with the intention that I was letting go of anger. When I was getting these massages, like I was just imagining, here comes the visualization, queens. You just have to imagine that anger. Every time they were massaging me, I would just imagine that anger just leaving my body. There's the intention. That's what I did, and therefore that's what happened. Our mind is powerful, guys. Our mind is powerful, and visualization really, really works. Next emotion is if you are feeling discomfort in your neck, in your wrist, or in your elbows. If you have ulcers or acid reflux, so agrura queens, hey. Diarrhea, discomfort in shoulder area, digestive discomfort, or stomach aches. This could be a sign of you being nervous. Some ways that this is showing up in your life is that you feel worthless, you're worried, you're anxious, or you're hopeless. Like you're just kind of like, my situation can't get better, I'm at the end. Then you're probably just nervous about the future, and that's completely okay. Again, welcome the emotion, welcome how you're feeling. It's okay to feel that way. For me, a lot of digestive issues. I can't explain how bad it got sometimes. So for me, my nervousness really got me to release that. I really had to do a lot of EFT tapping, which I've talked about, which again, like just to re-edify your me tapping and forgetting what this is, your forehead, your chin, your temples over here, your chest. EFT tapping has really helped me, and I go in with the intention of like, hey, I know my nervous system is on high alert. I know I feel anxious, like I'm releasing it. As I again releasing and speaking into existence of what I want. So again, I am nervous. My digestive issues are coming back. So okay, I probably feel nervous. Okay, what's going on right now? Let me ground myself. What are one thing I see, one thing I feel, what is one thing I hear, what is one thing I smell, what is one thing I taste? Grounding really into the present moment so I don't feel nervous, so I don't feel anxious. And going in with intention and intention of me releasing that nervousness. Next is difficulty giving or receiving a love, discomfort in chest, pain in your thighs, heart palpitations, or low energy as associated with being vulnerable. I have a podcast with my cousin, Diana. Shout out to you. Little heart to you. I love you. I have a podcast with her, and we have an episode which I could link down below. It's called The Power in Being Vulnerable. In that episode, I mentioned how I had to teach myself to speak. I had to teach myself to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable means speaking of your malos tiempos, speaking of the things that you have gone through to be able to let it out. Ways that this can be showing up for you is you feel abandonment, you feel betrayed, you're insecure, or you feel unloved. For me, I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. One of the things that I had a difficult time with was I felt a lot of whenever I would think of like an emotion, think of that worst day, I felt it a lot in my chest. For me, that was hurt. Like my pain in my heart, it was hurt because of what I had gone through. And for me, it really took the intention of crying. Like every time I cried and I thought of that pain that I felt the day that I was sexually abused, I literally took that pain and I cried it out. But I cried it with the intention of me releasing it. And it hurt. Like I remember my chest just hurting. And I was like just holding myself and being like, it's okay. It's okay to feel this way. That day was a really bad day for you, and it is okay to feel that because it was a hurtful situation and you are hurt and there was pain. And for me, really crying and with the intention of like, I'm going to release this chest pain. I'm going to release it. I don't want to feel it anymore. It's not mine to hold. And I want to release it. So whenever I would cry, I literally imagined every single tear was pain from my heart leaving my body. And that's how I was able to release that pain. That's how I was able to be vulnerable with myself because I was with that intention that I wanted to release that pain. And that's how you release it. Next thing is if you have a persistent cough or shortness of breath, waking up between 3 and 5 a.m., constipation, pain in your hamstrings, or discomfort in your ribs or your upper back. This has a lot to do with grief. Ways that this can show up for you is sadness, crying, lonely, and sorrowful. For me, what this showed up as is waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. I remember the times where I started setting boundaries for myself, started setting boundaries around certain individuals, around certain situations. When I started setting these boundaries, I remember I would wake up at 3 and 5 a.m. And I actually do remember that time. I actually called Laurie Holland, like the one that has this, and I did a consultation with her. And I literally just explained to her what I had going on. I was like, hey, like I'm waking up between 3 and 5 a.m. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she was like, there's sadness. She's like, there's sadness because of the boundaries that you're setting, and there's sadness because of the pain that you're letting go. You're letting go and you're grieving. And when I heard that, I'm like, well, I thought that grieving was just when someone passed away. And she literally told me these words. She's like, no, we grieve on a daily because we let go of certain people, we let go of certain aspects of ourselves. We grieve on a daily from certain situations. And she's like, you waking up at 3 and 5 a.m. It's just your body telling you like that there's sadness and that it needs to be felt. Again, for me, this was a lot of crying. Again, like I cried for like 3 months straight when I was first in my healing. When I was first feeling my emotions, I literally cried for like 3 months straight, every single day. And I still cry. Like it doesn't mean it's gonna go away. These emotions don't go away. It just means that you're feeling them in that moment and then you're releasing them. So now whenever I cry, I don't sit there and I cry for like 10 hours. Or even this one was a big one for me. Whenever I would watch a sad movie, I would cry. And it's just because I felt the emotions, I felt everything, but there wasn't a way that I could give myself the okay to cry without listening to sad music or without watching a sad movie. So just know that you have to grieve and you have to go through the stages of grief. I actually have a video on this, which I could link down below too, with my cousin here on my YouTube channel about grief. So the next thing, this one is a huge one. Huge, huge, huge one. Especially for my girls that are going through a hard time trying to get pregnant or having infertility issues. This one is big. And so the things are infertility or sterility for men. You feel fatigued. You have a lot of brain fog. There's imbalances in your thyroid, adrenals, or in your sex organs. Pain in your left hip or difficulty handling stress. This has to do with shame. And the ways that this is showing up for you is you are embarrassed, you feel guilty, you feel humiliated, or you're really self-conscious. Ways that shame can show up for you is endless. I actually just went to a shame release workshop with another Laurie, which I've had her here on my channel too. And for me, that experience it was beautiful because I was able to see myself without shame. I was able to see how much shame had controlled my life. I was able to see how much shame has controlled certain situations. I was able to see how literally shame was put on me, and it's not an emotion I needed to feel anymore. And that shame workshop really, really helped me. I can put Laurie's information down below so you guys can reach out to her. But really, releasing that shame truly helped me in seeing and moving on from situations. For me, I'm very, very hard on myself. I am a I'm a perfectionist. Like that's just the Virgo moon in me. And so for me, when the situation wasn't perfect per se, that Virgo in me was just like so hard on myself. And that's the shame. Like that's shame, just shaming myself for not being perfect, for not having a perfect picture. And so it takes a lot. And really, I think my biggest take on this is the fertility part, because for so long when I was younger, before I even knew about any of this information, I would sit there and I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time getting pregnant. And I haven't tried. I'm not saying that, this is just like what I used to think. And I used to have this thought in my head, and I was like, I don't know, I feel like I'm just going to. And maybe it's from like women in my family too, or just seeing it. But truly, I do feel that that was just like my inner little voice saying, like, well, you have some shame in there that needs to be released. But I never knew how. I never knew what was going on like at that point. And so for releasing shame, for me, it really took forgiveness, and forgiveness for myself, forgiveness for the fact that everything isn't going to be perfect, forgiveness for what I think should be out there, forgiveness for the people that hurt me, forgiveness for really just forgiveness. And being in a space where I don't feel shame anymore. And it's amazing. Again, I'm going to put Laurie's information down below because she really helped me in releasing this shame out of my body. And so I hope that, guys, I hope that this was a good video to give you guys a roadmap of emotions and how they're showing up in your body, how to feel them. Because I feel like when we speak about feeling emotions, we overthink it. We think we should be feeling some type of way, but no, they show up in our body. They show up in leg pain. That's an emotion in there. They show up waking up between 1 and 3 a.m. That's an emotion there. Um, Diarrhea, like, who would think that any of these things showing up on our daily is us feeling emotions? And it's because we're not taught that. And it's okay. Like, it's literally, I feel like I repeat this all the time, and it's like, it's okay. But truly, I feel like when you start realizing and you start being conscious of these little things that are showing up in your life day to day, you're gonna be like, wow, I'm feeling emotions like 100% of my day. Yes, you probably are, because you don't know how to release them. Release them, and then trust me, an emotion comes up and you're going to know how to tackle it. And that's what we're going to learn here on my channel. So keep coming back. I hope this video was educational in a way that it helps you in your journey or helps you in releasing your emotions. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Quick prayer to guide you during this time of feeling your emotions. And prayer for everybody out there that is just trying their best. I love you guys. Remember, every single day is a new opportunity to grow. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow me on my socials, and I love you guys. Bye.